We now have curriculum for Cody and the Mysteries of the Universe, available for free at our website, bookclubforkids.org. Just click on the button on the episode page. And we thank our partners at ListenWise for sharing the curriculum with us.
It's the book club for kids.
The book club for kids.
It's the book club for kids.
It's the book club for kids podcast.
Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. We all need a little humor in our life, and this week's book is just what the doctor ordered. It's Cody and the Mysteries of the Universe by Tricia Springstubb. Cody is a bit of a busybody, and our readers at Randall Elementary School in Washington, D.C. think they know why.
I would say people act like this because they just need to be involved in something, like they don't really have that much going on for them right now, so they might want to stick their nose in somebody else's business so they can just be a part of something.
But Cody has a good heart.
I came to introduce my best friend, Spencer. He's really smart, Cody said. He takes forever to make up his mind, but it's worth it.
That's our celebrity reader, actress Peggy Miley. Our writer, Tricia Springstubb, says she's nothing like Cody.
I'm a real, scaredy cat. I don't like scary movies. I never go on roller coasters.
This is the Book Club for Kids, the show where kids talk about books. We'll tell you how you can be on the show a little later on, but first, let's meet our readers.
Hello, my name is Amina.
Hello, my name is Dominique.
Hello, my name is Carter, and we're all in 5th grade, and we're from Randall Highlands Elementary School in Washington, D.C.
The name of the book is Cody and the Mystery of the Universe.
This book is about a girl named Cody and her best friend Spencer going through school and getting bullied and how their friendship was at stake, but they somehow found a way to fix it.
In the beginning, they were talking about more about the characters, like Spencer. He liked to play violin, and Cody loved listening to his music. And in the second part of the book, it was more about how their relationship was at stake, and Pearl got in the way,
which is Cody's best friend from school. And then at the end, there was these 2 girls named Maxie and Molly. They were the bullies of the school.
Let's talk about Cody. Cody is an odd character.
She really wants to guide Spencer throughout his life because he's a new student at his school, and she doesn't think that he'll be able to do things on his own, but she comes to a realization when Spencer is doing just fine by himself.
What kind of person is Cody? How would you describe her?
I would describe her as a nice person. She's confident. She made sure that her friend was not being bullied. She's kind.
I think that she's brave, and she's very mother-like because she wants to guide Spencer, and she's very brave because she saved Maxie from Yellow Jackets.
I would say Cody is very outgoing and straightforward. She doesn't give anybody the short end of the story. She always tells the truth.
What gets her in trouble?
I would say she doesn't really know how to control herself in situations, so she kind of blurts out, which gets her into a lot of trouble.
What gets her into trouble is when she gets into something that doesn't involve her, and sometimes that gets her in trouble when she's minding other people's business.
She's really nosy because she went on the Means property, even though the Means told her not to come on that side.
Cody, she doesn't really know what she wants to do in life yet, so she doesn't really have business of her own, so she just wants to be a part of everybody else's business.
Well, here's a scene from the book where Cody is getting into the business of her new best friend, Spencer. Our celebrity reader is actress Peggy Miley.
I came to introduce my best friend, Spencer. Ah, Spencer, Mrs. Spindle set down the poison arrows and shook his hand. Welcome. He's really smart, Cody said. He takes forever to make up his mind, but it's worth it. I bet he can speak for himself, said Mrs. Spindle. Oh, he's not big in the talking department, but thank you, Cody, Mrs. Spindle gave one of her famous firm nods. You may go now. One more thing. But before she knew it, Cody was out in the hallway, Spencer was alone in the clutches of the spindle. At recess, Cody couldn't find him. He's gotten punished already? Even for the spindle, this was going too far. The rule was no coming inside unless you required stitches or had to go really, really bad. Cody jumped up and down and did some groaning till at last the recess lady said, "Oh, fine." Cody tiptoed down the hallway. Her spying skill was definitely coming in handy. Peeking around the door, she saw Mrs. Spindle and Spencer snipping shapes from construction paper. Both had their feet crossed at the ankle. And what do you know? Mrs. Spindle's brown shoes were the lady version of Spencer's. Both of them looked like the kind of plain, sensible shoes that made Mom shake her head and sigh. Music was playing, violin-y music. A person who didn't know better would take this for a cozy, contented scene instead of jail. Whatever he did, he didn't mean it, Cody marched to the front of the room. Spencer never breaks rules on purpose. Keeping him in isn't fair. Spencer and Mrs. Spindle made twin faces of surprise. Mrs. Spindle set down her scissors. "Cody, did you forget all those conversations we had about thinking before speaking?" Why did people keep asking if she forgot something? In the silence, violin music skipped all around the room. "Cody," said Mrs. Spindle, "I am thinking before I speak." "Good." Mrs. Spindle stood up. If she was a candy, she would be sugar-free. "Spencer's not in trouble. He and I are just getting to know each other. But you are right." Cody jiggled her finger in her ear. "Run along, dear," Mrs. Spindle told Spencer. "Fresh air is tonic for both mind and body." "Dear?" said Cody when they were outside. "She called you dear?" "Mozart is her favorite, just like me." Before Cody could say, "Hussart?" Pearl ran up to them. Pearl was famous for origami, and now she handed Spencer an origami Yoda.
Do you guys know somebody like Cody who kind of gets their nose?
Yes. There's this one girl, she's always trying to mind people's business. She puts herself into situations, and then like when she get in trouble, she make it a big deal. Then she start crying.
Why do we think people act like this sometimes?
Because they have nothing to do. So they just want to ruin stuff for other people.
Some people, they just like, if their day is not going good, they try to make somebody else feel down for what they do.
I would say people act like this because they just need to be involved in something. Like they don't really have that much going on for them right now, so they might want to stick their nose in somebody else's business so they can just be a part of something.
Let's talk about Spencer. What kind of a kid is he?
He is very nervous.
I think he's more mature than Cody. Like in a situation like how they was with the memes, I think he handled himself pretty good.
Spencer, he's more cautious than Cody. Like, he has to think out everything before he does it, and he's not very big on taking risks, and he handles really good under pressure, unlike Cody.
And I also think that Spencer is like, he know what he want to do when he get older, unlike Cody. Like, he want to play music.
Maybe not the whole character, but is there a part of one of these characters that you identify with?
I'd probably go with, like, Cody and Spencer because I like to have fun. So, like, I would probably take a lot of risk. But at the same time, I'm more quiet, and I think I know what I want to do when I grow up.
Which is what?
I want to be a scientist when I grow up because I like math.
I'm like a little bit more like Maxie because she has like her sister, Molly, like egging her on to do like the wrong thing and be mean to people. but she really has like a soft spot for being nice.
Wait a minute, I have to ask, because they're kind of the villains in this book, the Maxie girl. You're not a bully? So tell me in the other ways that you are alike and not alike.
First, I'm not a bully. Second, I don't want to make people be bad because I know that can hurt them and like while they're growing up because they wouldn't be able to get a good job. They'd probably just end up in jail.
Would I say like I'm like completely unlike Maxie because like she is not her own person. Like she just wants to follow her big sister and she doesn't want to do things on her own. But me, I'm more of like independent than like following other people.
I would agree with Carter from what he said. He's more like Cody and Spencer because when I get older, I do know what I want to be. But
What?
I want to be a producer. And I want to shoot big movies in Hollywood. Spencer, he's more like a quiet person, but I'm not. So I'm like more like Cody. And I'm more like into learning new things and games and fun and stuff.
Who'd you recommend this book for? Did you like the book?
Yeah. I would recommend this book to younger kids to show them that they should accept people even if they don't like them.
I recommend this book to my brothers, like his classroom, so that they know like bullying don't get you nowhere in life.
Cody and the Mysteries of the Universe just came out in its 4th printing. Would you guys like to ask our writer, Tricia Springstubb, a few questions?
What made you want to write this book? Is it because one time, like, were you in Cody's shoes one day? Did you do all the stuff she did when you was little?
Well, probably 2 things went into it. One was the kind of neighborhood that Cody lives in. It's my neighborhood here in Cleveland Heights. I mean, I lived in a side-by-side house just like Spencer, so I know what it's like to share your backyard and your front porch with other families. And I love my neighborhood. I mean, I just love the front porches and everybody's out. It's really diverse. There's always stuff going on. So I wanted my neighborhood to be sort of a character in the book. Also, I love cats, and I owned a cat who was a lot like Mew Mew, very plump and sweet and not so smart. And then the other thing I think is when you read or write, you get to really live inside somebody else's skin. The characters, you can really see through their eyes and, you know, have their experiences. And I am so different from Cody. Like, I am a real, like, scaredy cat. I don't like scary movies. I never go on roller coasters. So I'm a little bit more like Spencer. Everything that I do, I think about it for like a million years first. So I wanted to write a character like Cody who's the opposite, you know, who's like, I got plan A. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, I got plan B. You know, and somebody who's just adventurous and bold. So that's why I wrote Cody. Yeah.
Have you ever been in a relationship like Cody and Spencer's?
That's a really interesting question. I did actually when I was growing up, and I never thought of this when I was writing it, but now it comes to mind pretty quickly. Have a friend who went to a different school from me and was slightly younger than I was, and was probably a little more even shyer and more timid than I was. Cynthia Moss. And she used to have comic books. And my mother never bought, we were not allowed to buy comic books, so I would go over to Cynthia's house and read all the comic books.
When you were little, did you ever get bullied before by someone and it made you want to write this book?
I am very fortunate. I have rarely experienced bullying and never anything more teasing than bullying. I've never been afraid of other kids the way Cody and Spencer are scared of the means, even though the means turn out to be not too threatening after all. But I have seen it plenty of times in children, my own children's friends, and in schools that I visit, and it is a real issue, and it's a heartbreaking one. So I did want to touch a little bit on that, and it's so hard to know when that's happening to you, you know. like Cody has to struggle with that. I mean, you want to stand up for yourself, but at the same time, you want to be a peaceful person. So it's a difficult issue.
What was the cat Mew Mew point in the story? Why was the cat involved?
I love cats. I just adore cats. I like to have pets in stories because they're kind of like, they're like observers. They're there on the edges of things, and they can sort of, how they are acting can sort of be a comment on the action. And also, pets are like, they're just always loyal friends. I mean, they're always there for you no matter what.
So I come to the part of the show where we ask the hard question, which is, what is your favorite book and why?
I got 2 favorite books. Brick and Egg. That's my first favorite book.
Why?
One of the characters, she more like me. She loud. She funny. She like to learn new things. And my second book is Dork.
Dork Diaries.
Yeah.
I would say my favorite book is called Things Not Seen. And the book is about this boy who, he woke up at nighttime. He looked in the mirror and he couldn't see his reflection. And then he came to the conclusion that he was invisible.
Why do you like this book?
I like this book because it keeps you thrilled and it keeps you satisfied because, you want to know what happens next.
A Wrinkle in Time.
That's one of our book club favorites. Yeah, it's one of our book club episodes as well. So we'll put a link at the website, bookclubforkids.org.
I like the part of the movie when they was brave enough to go out on an adventure on their own.
And why did you like the book?
Can I tell you a character I like? Okay, so I think her name was Mrs. Whatsit, because she spoke in quotes, and it was like really cool.
What about you, Peggy Miley? What is your favorite book?
I love to read. I usually have 3 or 4 books going at once. Sometimes it's a play, like Death of a Salesman, which is not a mystery book at all. And sometimes it's a book by somebody famous like Maria Shriver. But I also began liking books very early on. I liked particularly the story of the Little Red Hen. And then after the fairy tale started, I think I liked Honey Bunch, and then Nancy Drew, and then The Diary of Anne Frank, which was very sad but very beautiful. And, oh my goodness, there is just so many books. Oh yeah, and I have a great big book full of all of Shakespeare's works, and they're always good. If someone says to you, "To thine own self be true," it's a good thing to be. But it comes from Shakespeare from 500 years ago.
Well, since Peggy named a whole passel of books, the sky's the limit, Tricia Springstubb. What are your favorites?
2 books that I think really helped me become a writer myself. The Cody books, there's a lot in there about empathy. So when I think about books that shape me as a writer and a reader, the first one I think of is probably Little Women. The loss that the 3 sisters suffer in that book is one that I think it was the first time that when I was reading a book that I felt as if it had happened to me. I was as struck with grief as Beth's older sisters were. So I think that really showed me just the power of books to make people feel what other people experience. And then when I got a little bit older, To Kill a Mockingbird, and for me the main reason that book is so important to me is Boo Radley. Boo is a character who everybody thinks he's weird and scary, and then at a really heart-stopping moment in the book, he turns out to be a hero. And I remember reading that and thinking, whoa, people are so complicated. Nobody is all good or all bad. We are all a mixture of so many different things. And that was a lesson for me as a person, and surely as a writer, to remember that about every character that I create.
We'll have a list of everybody's favorite book at our website, bookclubforkids.org. And if you're a school librarian or a teacher, you can get your students on the Book Club for Kids podcast. All you need is your smartphone. Just send us an email to kitty@bookclubforkids.org, or just click the Put Me on the Show button at our website, bookclubforkids.org, and we will send you all the information. Thanks this week to producer Ilse Setziel. Brandon Baker composed our theme. Emma Steinkellner designed our logo. Thanks to our writer this week, Tricia Springstubb, and our celebrity reader, Peggy Miley. We have a free newsletter for teachers, parents, and librarians full of free tips about how to turn kids into lifelong readers. You can sign up at our website, bookclubforkids.org. And if you're looking for a terrific mystery podcast you can play on the drive home from school, check out our other show, The Fina Mendoza Mysteries. As one young critic put it, it's not too scary. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks so much for listening. And one more thing. The book that inspired the Fina Mendoza Mysteries, Welcome to Washington, Fina Mendoza, comes out July 3rd in English and in Spanish, published by Chesapeake Press. Check it out at your local bookstore or order it at your public library. That's Welcome to Washington, Fina Mendoza, or Bienvenida a Washington, Fina Mendoza, published by Chesapeake Press.